Hi, it's Davina. In this video, I want to share with you a little comparison between the S step of surveying when we're using the SQ3R system and compare it to outlining. A survey and an outline are two different ways to study material and learn it so that you can do well on a quiz, but we do them in different ways and at different times. The survey we do before we read it. Outline we do after we have read it one time. Remember that we read, we review, we read it again. Outline is part of the review part. So let's try to do a very quick comparison of these two. All right, so first, survey. We're looking at a textbook, so we're going to check out the title of the reading. We're going to look at the headings, and by the way, that's going to include the subheadings as well, right? We're going to look at the introduction, if there is one. We're going to look at every first sentence. Now, we might not have time to do every paragraph, but in general, every first. V is going to be visuals. We do have some pictures. Now, there's also an E and an S. Ending. Usually the ending is questions at the end. Summary is if you're reading a textbook, sometimes there's a summary. We've looked at this textbook, Introduction to Sociology, before. There's no ending material, there's no summary. There is a learning objective, and that's very similar to the E. But for now, don't worry about it. So when we first get a reading assigned, we are at least going to do THIEV. And it should go pretty quickly. It should take, for a reading like this, less than 10 minutes. So title. The title here is, what is sociology? Okay, that's a question. So if I'm thinking about what do I need to learn for a quiz, I need to be able to answer. Sociology is, right? So this tells me what I should learn. So I don't just define sociology, I need to explain some concepts that are related to it, and I need to describe some different sociological perspectives and their history, how they developed. Okay, that's kind of a lot. I need to define sociology, explain some of its concepts, and tell how different theories in sociology have developed over time. All right, title, done with the title. Headings, let's look at some headings. Learning objectives, what are society and culture? Going down, studying patterns, keep going down, keep doing. Studying part and whole, and then we have a box, right? I think this box is more part of V, visuals. Let's go back up and look at the next step in our process. Introduction. Is there an introduction? No, there's no introduction. There's the objectives and then a heading. Sometimes there could be, right in this area, an introduction, a couple of paragraphs that don't have a heading, but this one does not have an intro, so don't worry about it. E, every first sentence. I'm not going to do that right now. V, visuals. Let me check out the visuals. Here is a picture. What am I supposed to learn from this picture or remember? Well, let's see. It says sociologists learn about society while studying interactions. I try to make sense of this. There are 4 people together. They are members of a society. How do they relate to each other? They might relate to each other one-on-one, or they might relate as a group, and sociology would help us understand how. Okay? Is there another visual? In fact, there's 2 more. Modern U.S. families may be different. Okay, so here's a family, 2 people with kids. What's different here? I might notice, hey, it looks like there are 2 fathers. That's different. The other picture, we have a guy, kind of a traditional looking guy. He has the baseball hat, he has the tattoos, but he's pushing his baby. In old traditional American culture, fathers didn't take care of their babies very often. So these pictures go together. They're showing men taking care of young children, which in American culture is new. Any other pictures? Well, not a picture, a visual, maybe a gray box. It is not part of the paragraph, though, so that I will think of as part of the visuals. Now, my next step. I've done all of these, right? I didn't show the every first, but let's imagine that I did it. Now I'm done. I've done the S part of SQ3R. If I want to start studying, I can now go on and do my questions. And a question would be for each heading, I'm going to write a question. Now let's zoom out so I can see them all. Here's a heading, here's a heading, and there's a heading down there. So I could write at least 3 questions because I've got 3 headings. That would help me study. And as homework, I've been asking you to do SQ as a part of practicing. Show me that you know how to survey and write questions. Now, let's change. We're okay with the S part. Now let's try the outline part. Remember, one more. When do you do a survey? You do it before you read it. When do you do an outline? You do it after you read it. Read, review, read again. Outline is part of review. So how do you outline? There are many different levels that you can outline at, many levels of detail. I'm zooming out so I can see this whole chapter. And this chapter, remember, it's a really easy one. It only has 1, 2, 3 headings. That means at least, at the smallest amount, my outline is going to have 1, 2, 3 Roman numerals. 1 heading, 1 Roman numeral. Second heading, 2nd Roman numeral, and 3rd heading, 3rd Roman numeral. Now, there are also paragraphs inside if there were subheadings, or if I really wanted to get into detail of what does each paragraph say. If I want more detail, I can add more detail. I would use letters inside the Roman numerals to add detail. This time, though, I don't want to do that. I just want to focus on these headings. I don't want to just copy the heading, although I can do that for a start. So let's just zoom in a little. Roman numeral 1, what are society and culture? What are society and culture? Now, to make an outline useful, it's not enough to just copy the same words. I need to get into the paragraphs underneath it. I need to understand what's the answer to that question. What is it? Well, let's see. A group of people who live in are called a society. Okay, there's one definition. Sociologists from the micro level and macro level. Okay. What about culture? The term culture refers to practices. Okay. Sociologists use the sociological imagination. I have there at least 4 ideas. Those 4 ideas should be part of my outline. So let's see. I just kind of want to match my colors. You see how I'm trying to do it. Got a yellow next, and then a purple. Okay, there are some notes that I've made. You can see that I have to have read this in order to make an outline. Now, zooming out a little bit, I've got the same words. I've copied the same words here. To make my outline even better, I should paraphrase, make this more useful for me. There's my new heading in my own outline. First section gives the definition of these words, and I've got some notes summarizing what I've read. Now I will go on for the next section. I'll follow that same process. I can look at the heading. I can start by copying it, and then I can paraphrase it. Remember that my example doesn't have any subheadings, but if it did have subheadings, I would do A and B and so on for each subheading. Subheading 1 would be A, subheading 2 would be B, and so on. I can, if I want to, it's just copy the same words, but it's better to paraphrase because a paraphrase is more useful for me. All right, this video is a little bit long. I apologize, but I hope it's useful. Thanks. Bye-bye.